Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I'm going to talk about the struggles of an avoidant in terms of them being scared to love you. And first, we're going to talk about what it looks like just briefly, and then we're going to talk about more so why it happens so that you can be more aware of these dynamics. So, when an avoidant is scared to love you, you're going to likely feel something like this. You feel that there's a bond between you two. You also do things physically, emotionally, perhaps even structured together that shows that this bond is not just friendship. It's not just a short-term fling. It's something long-lasting and real, and likely you guys have been together for a number of months, a number of years. And so you already have something established with this person, but they are in denial of it. But at the same time, there are moments or like cracks where they may admit it to some extent. They might accidentally say they love you briefly. They might say they love you and then afterwards they don't talk to you for like a week because they felt so uncomfortable saying that. And so you're seeing this very odd dynamic and you're confused about it because for you, you don't feel that way and you're not afraid to tell somebody you love them. And you are confused as to why it's such a frightening experience for them. And so when an avoidant is scared to love you, there are dynamics that show up in your relationship that may contribute to why this is happening. If you can adjust some of these things, likely they will get a little bit more comfortable to accept they love you. So I just wanted to jump in for this particular subpoint. If you guys are struggling with some of these relationship dynamics and you're not really sure what to do, and you really feel like there's more things that you need to work on directly, I offer those services and I would love to meet you or you and your partner. I have both. I can see just you. I can see your partner. And we can work on those things together so that you don't have to live in this confusion and you can build the skills that you need so that the relationship is pretty much forever changed. And I think it's a good value. I think that I wouldn't offer something if I didn't think it was a good value because the point of it really is that you just need it like once or twice. You're not going to continuously be doing these things. I want you to have the skills that you need so that forever your relationship is built with more romance, with more love, and you don't have to suffer anymore. And so I have that. You can book a call with me. You can email me. That is in the description box. It is also pinned in the comments. Now, the first one that we're going to touch on actually doesn't have to do with you, but it's something to keep in mind that you might have to be a bit more transparent about some things to help them alleviate some of this. The first one is that they have been cheated on before. Avoidants are very uncomfortable with getting cheated on. It's something that is just a really uncomfortable situation because avoidants feel that commitment is quite sacred, some of them, at least from the depth of them. They might not admit it. And actually, some of them might hide this, that they're so hurt about the fact they were cheated on at one point. But the reality is that vulnerability is very kind of scary to some avoidants. And the reality is that being cheated on is a very vulnerable position to be in. So it's not just that they were betrayed. It's also that they were in such a vulnerable position, they never want to be in that position again. It's humiliating for them, and they also feel helpless, and they don't like those feelings. And so they might associate love with that potential because it is true. It is a potential. And so they may be scared to love you. They may be slower to love you. The next one is if you communicate indirectly. What happens is this may trigger their fear of failure, and I'll explain that. It makes them feel like they are constantly guessing. And basically what happens is if they are constantly guessing, there is a potential they could guess wrong, right? And so they're not sure what you want. So what they actually do is they ignore it completely. So let's say, for example, you're upset at them because you were sick. You had a cold and you wish that they brought you, I don't know, chicken noodle soup. And you're indirectly dropping hints. I'm sick. I wish someone was there to take care of me. They should know better. Whatever it is, right? You don't want to say it directly. I'm sick. Could you please bring me soup? That would mean a lot to me. I would appreciate that. You don't want to say that because you feel like you're like spoon feeding them. It's not fair. That means it's not genuine. But what happens is even if they kind of have an idea what you're saying, they're not going to risk the fear of failure. It's too much for them. And it proves to them, even if you don't realize it, that love is guessing. It's hard. It's potential to get hurt. Because if they're in their mind, not saying you would do this, if they guess the wrong answer, let's say you're saying that you want soup and their answer is, okay, I want to give this person space because that's what they want when they're sick. So they're like, okay, the right answer is giving you space, and they give you space and now you crash out and get mad at them. Now they're thinking, okay, this reinforces the fact that I'm a failure and I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what love is. And so that's going to push them away from accepting their love. The next one is the relationship has periods where neither of you reach out. And I'm not putting it fully on you. That's not really your fault. However, what happens is they might take these periods of neither of you reaching out as playing games. And so maybe they reach out and sometimes they need space from you, but maybe you started copying this as well, possibly because you're trying to help them, and maybe you're trying to play a game with them and it's not clear as to why you're doing it. Again, it puts them in that guessing situation. So if you guys have a period where you're not reaching out and you are literally doing it because you want to give them space, you could mention, I would prefer us talking every day or having a more structured meeting or whatever you guys want to say, right? But I don't, because I think you need that space. Correct me if I'm wrong. Something of that sort, so you guys can get on the same page, because that guesswork really does trigger an avoidance fear, because as we talked about earlier, fear of failure. The next one is that arguments and fights are common, maybe even more often than not. This means that you are arguing incredibly frequently, and this is something that really pushes avoidance away, and it makes them scared to love because of this particular aspect that I'm just about to talk about. If let's say they do love you, and you guys are always fighting, the potential of you breaking up is higher, they feel. And so that can be incredibly frightening. But the other aspect is if you're always arguing with them, they feel like they're not enough. And so it's hard for them to even feel their love when they feel so commonly that their fears and their triggers are often being activated, that they're not enough, that they don't matter, that whatever their efforts are, it's never going to make you stop fighting with them. And that's not really true, but that's maybe what they feel. And so a good balance is to communicate, maybe ask them, do you guys fight too much? Is there something that you can do on your end? And if you back off from arguing to some extent, just a little bit, or bring up issues, even just a little bit, you might see your partner be more comfortable with you and your marriage or your relationship. It's one of the most easiest, at least it depends though. In couples therapy, most of the time they come to couples therapy because there's a lot of arguments. And so that's a really good one. Bring up issues only during certain times, possibly during therapy, can help because the rest of the week you guys are not really fighting. And especially if you guys are a couple who fights almost like, every other day or so, which is a lot, by the way, that reduction really helps the other person to feel more safe. The next one is the relationship has been an uphill battle for both of you. They're trying to figure out what you're saying, you're being indirect, you're not telling them what you want, you're feeling like you're unlovable, you're unattractive, they don't like you. And so both of you guys are fighting to make this relationship work. And they almost feel like they're not really sure if it's worth even accepting or admitting they love you because it's going to end anyways. And so if this is the case, it's important that both you guys meet each other in the middle, not just you, your avoidant partner as well. And if that your partner really is ready for commitment, they will meet you there. Because without doing that, the relationship's going to keep dragging. What is the middle ground? It's not going to feel good for you, to be honest. You're not going to like that middle ground because you're going to have to give up some stuff. But the truth of the matter is it's not going to be good for them either. They're going to be uncomfortable as well. And that's kind of the point. You're going to have to give up some stuff. They're going to have to give up some stuff for you guys to meet in the middle. The next one is you have too many differences that are fundamental. This one is challenging because I don't know if you can necessarily fix it. Not without some genuine commitment from you or their side to actually change some of these things. Let's say you want to get married and have kids and they don't really want kids and they don't want to get married. Maybe it's like they definitely don't want kids and they're not sure about getting married. Those differences are incredibly fundamental. Is that even potential for you guys to have a healthy relationship? Possibly, but it's going to have a lot of strain at some point and someone's going to have to let something go. And I think that can cause a lot of avoidance to be scared to open up and love you. And the last one is if they have admitted that they feel criticized by you. If this is a case, this is quite fixable. Reduce that potential communication regarding criticizing them and perhaps reword it in a way that's more palatable, such as mentioning what you acknowledge that's good about them before mentioning what's bothering you. So let's summarize and we'll wrap it up. Some of the reasons that avoidants are scared to love you could be that they've been cheated on, the relationship has periods where either of you reach out and they're not really sure what's going on, fights are pretty common, relationship is an uphill battle, you two have differences that they perceive as fundamental, and they actually admit they feel criticized. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.